know how to do it to yours.
Oh, okay. No.
How does share to your story? Said share to a group. No. I'll share to my story. Share to story. We'll share.
We share. We share because
oh, good morning.
Butter it like confetti.
We are, exactly. Just gonna put it out there and see what comes back. Oh, look at you all, my gorgeous girls. There's so much love and light just shining out of you all. Honestly, it's like looking at a really nice painting, a moving image.
I was thinking about that this morning. I was thinking, when I do my live videos, which I do every day, Monday to Saturday, and doing this one, I'm always looking bright and smiley, and it's the truth. It's not my live video face, and really the rest of the time I'm not smiley and bright.
No.
It is the nature, isn't it, of those of us who understand what controls we've got.
Yeah.
Where control really lies. Those of us, then we are okay.
Always.
Yeah, always.
And
even
it's not
in any storm.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
You can ride the storm.
There's always people that will help. Always. Just the thing is asking for it.
Yeah, that's the big issue.
Seriously, because we're all here for each other. Blooming Nora. If we can't be here for each other now, then when can we be here for each other, right?
Exactly.
We're all
And look at what we've all gained from this group as well. We started doing it to help others, and that was all. I'm sure all of us were thinking about. Oh yes, I'll join because I've got something I can share, having no idea of the closeness that would develop between us, and that expands our life, doesn't it? It expands our life.
I'm so
Big
grateful.
time, yeah, and it's so awesome connecting with just people from everywhere. You know, it's the borders aren't sort of holding us back, which previously they certainly had. I think, you know, Danielle, you wouldn't necessarily have reached out to everybody in the way that you have, which is
it's true. Like everyone that's here is meant to be here. Like everyone that's connected, you know, and like that's so perfect. It's, you know, it's just trusting that and letting go of any kind of worries, because whatever happens, we will all be okay. That's the thing. We really will. You know, there is going to be an end to whether it's back to what we know and what we used to know. That's a different question. But there will always be an end to challenges that we're experiencing, and we will find our new normal, because we might as well lead into that as a link, because today look at me go. So today, because it's 2 minutes to, so I think it's creative license to start, right? So today, if we get more people will be joining here and there, so we'll look forward to that. But today we are going to be talking about normality, and we've entered this whole different phase of life where our old normality is completely out the window for most of us and we are facing new challenges and new normalities, and getting those challenges and normalities to resonate throughout your life and to enhance it and to help you to grow as a person and as a soul and as a being and as a human on this planet, to be able to get those changes to integrate every part of your body to make you excel, right? So that's a new normality. So my old normality, you know, this getting up, I mean, my old normality was I'd get up about 6 o'clock, get ready, get my son to school, you know, drive to school, drive back, go and see my sister for an hour, go and see my parents for an hour, play with the mad dogs for an hour, drive home. I'd go in and do a bit of exercise sometimes. And then I'd do some work and then maybe a bit of teaching, like my vocal coaching in the daytime, collect my son from school, roughly cooking, because I'm not Gordon Ramsay, trust me. And you know, and then setting up for homework, bed, you know, that was my normal. And you know, the weekends I did my gigs. I used to travel to my gigs and like be with my 90s family at the weekends. And oh, I loved that so much as well. I miss them so much, but it's not now, and that's okay, and it will be in the future, whatever will be. But right now, my new normality is I wake up in the morning at about 5:30, 6 in the morning. And now I sleep with my curtains open at night, because I never used to. And the first thing I do is I look out my window and I've got a robin's nest in a tree, literally outside my bedroom window. So I have about 3 or 4 robins traveling in and out of this tree, standing on the branch, looking at me through the window. I think they're actually looking at the reflection, but I like to think it's looking at me. And then they're flying, and they're just going, doing their work, jumping on the ground, getting the worms, feeding, you know, themselves. So I do that, and then I wake up, and my son's sleeping in the bed next to me at the moment, because he was sleeping in his room, but it's quite nice to have him. My partner sleeps in another bedroom because he snores, so that's normal anyway. So that hasn't changed. So now I've got Ethan next to me, and I wake up and I look at him sleeping peacefully, and I know I don't have to wake him up, because it's not important to. He'll do his homework when he gets up, and he's a good boy, and he'll do that. And yes, I'll do that, and then I'll wake up and I'll actually make some pancakes in the morning, make him some breakfast, and I'll have a bit of pancakes, and then, you know, he'll do his work, and then I'll concentrate on my day, and a bit of sunshine, bit of exercise, and seeing you guys, my anchors for the week, you know, my Tuesday and my Friday anchor, and FaceTiming with my parents. And so I can't do it in person, but I'm doing what I used to do, but without that physicality, you know, and just checking everyone's okay. So my new normal, and getting up, getting dressed, getting your makeup on, we were talking about this earlier with Susanna, getting your perfume on, getting all the things that are normal that make you feel better, all of those things, doing them, getting that normality, so you're surrounded by it, and becoming, you know, what you want to be for the day, you know, because it is literally day by day, minute by minute, and dealing with what's thrown at you. So that's my normality. So let me throw it out there. Normality, what does it mean to you? Oh, let's go Susanna, because I want you to talk about perfume.
Well, you see, for me this morning when I woke up, and it's been a while I haven't felt that, and I think it's coming back to me now. I woke up, and for a few moments, you know, is that period of time when you're not completely awake and you still don't know what's going on, you don't remember yet the reality. And so I'm there, and I remember that moment, that feeling that I had when it was a normal day for me, like waking up, doing my meditation, doing my little sadhana, my Ayurvedic massages, and my little yoga, and then starting the day, looking forward to see who am I going to meet today, what I'm going to have, what treatments. So that feeling of anticipation, that something cool is going to happen, and the people I'm going to meet, and what difference I can make to other people's lives. So that's for me, normality is that feeling when you wake up and you're ready for the day. That was for me earlier. It's funny, it just happened today. And also for me, normality is human contact. Because apart from the NLP, you know, I do Ayurvedic treatments and energy sessions. So I like a lot being in the company. I like to use my hands. So that is an aspect that I miss a lot. And I keep massaging my daughter, you know.
Come to my house.
Anybody else needs one?
Yeah.
So I need to use that. I feel like it's not used, it's not channeled enough. I have that itch, you know, to touch and to use my energy and to have that human contact and that physical proximity that I miss, you know, giving hugs to people, meeting people and just hugging them. And that is normality to me. But then what I was thinking also that, you know, the normality, like everything, like we say in NLP, normality is a state, right? in our reality, whether it's, I don't know, prosperity, health, money, a loving relationship, and so on and so forth, what we're basically looking for is a state, right? It's a state within, we use NLP, because if you can gather a few elements that represent normality to you, for instance, like you gave the example of the perfume.
Yeah.
What are the elements of normality that you can still use now that will help you enhance that state of normality? So can we use some anchors? Can we use some tools? Can we use reframing in order to recreate that feeling of normality? And I have more to say and to add, but I would like the others to give their input, and then we can discuss further on how we can get there and what we can do actually.
Yeah, definitely.
Could I come in? Because what I've noticed is this loss of normality, what it looks like and feels like, and how we've all responded to it has been a process. It's not been, oh, normal, and now we're like this. And what occurs to me is it's like deschooling. So our family, we're home educators, we always were. And if your child's been in school, when you take them out, there is needed a period of deschooling. They recommend a month for every year that they've been in school. So that means you do not dive straight in with your new normal, your new home education. You give them chance to pull out of the old first, because this is actually a perfect metaphor, because in school there's a hidden agenda. I'm not saying it's deliberate, maybe not at the point of delivery, it's not deliberate. There's a hidden agenda. There are things being taught, imbibed, that you don't notice. And when you're going to home educate, you want those to go. You want those to leave your child. So for example, because of the way school has to work, you have to have a tick, means correct is good. Whereas when you get into real life, you want to understand that making mistakes is part of life, and getting stuff wrong allows you to progress. So it's those kind of things I'm talking of. So what I've noticed is this lockdown has given us all a deschooling opportunity that we can't refuse on life, just on living normal life. So we've got that deschooling happening. Things are leaving us that we used to use as lodestones. We're changing, aren't we? So in the first few weeks, everyone had become a Stepford wife and was cleaning out the cupboards and scrubbing the work surfaces and baking everything and making bread and everything, or 1950s housewife. And there's not so much of that now. If you look on social media, people are not talking about that so much now. And it's not happening here. We're keeping up with things, with jobs, but it's not got that same focus anymore. It's now got a different focus. And we're starting to, so I think letting go of normal means we've let go of some things that restrained us. And as they go, we are now like the phoenix. I'm mixing metaphors, but like the phoenix, we're now able to come up out of those ashes and start to see what we do want in our life, what we want our normal to be. And I'd like to hope, I do hope, that a lot of us create a new normal. Because the fact is, the old normal is dead and buried, isn't it? It's not available anymore, and it's not going to be available afterwards either. There are going to be some changes. We are all changed. Our economy has changed. It's all changed, isn't it? So it will never look exactly like it did before. But I'd like to see that the changes in each individual means they will never, even if allowed to, they will never create exactly that same normal again.
I agree. I think that's wonderful. And before we just go on, because I'm going to go on to someone else, I just would like to invite everybody that's watching this to go and get a squirt of your perfume or your aftershave, okay? Because yes, go Linda. And I don't know if Lena or anyone. So we've already done it, haven't we, girls? Well, Lee and Susanna, we've already got our perfume. And I just want you to squirt yourself, squirt yourself, aftershave or perfume, and smell it. Because I did that earlier, because we were talking about perfume, and it's almost an anchor. So when you smell it,
Yes.
it literally will take you back to all those beautiful memories and all those good times. It will anchor you in such a beautiful place, because you'll smell the richness, and you'll smell the comfort, and you'll smell the excitement and the different tones and it will just bring you anywhere you need to be. It's like listening to a good song, isn't it? A good song from when you were growing up. It will take you right back there. You can shut your eyes and you're 18 or 15 again, you know, you're there. And perfume's got that power, because it's just your senses overload. It's a beautiful thing. So smell that perfume, enjoy it. We're going to move on now. Oh, isn't it good?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it smells good. Go on, Lee. Go ahead.
No, I agree with what you're saying, and I think it's actually quite a nice place to start, is that, you know, there is so much change, and there will never be the same normal that there was. We've got to face that normal is now a new normal. And it is forever changing. And with NLP, you know, we talk about each person's normal as a model of the world. It's the way that we see the world, the way we've experienced it from, you know, every single person has it. And I love to use this sort of example of if two people go and watch a movie or whatever, there's, you know, they'll come out with different perspectives, and the one will say, did you see that? Did you realize? And the other's like, no, I didn't, you know. So it's that we're all so different, but it's these little things that bring us to our norm, that that bring us a little bit of stability within the situation. So like we were also mentioning a bit earlier, was for me, my one little bit of normal is, yeah, I enjoy running, and for a while I haven't actually done that much, but because of this lockdown, out of sheer desperation, I go running round and round and round and round my garden, you know, to kind of get a bit of, but it's become a new norm. I would never have zigzagged in and out and tried to make lots of figures of 8 to try and make my garden big enough to run in, but I do it. And if I was allowed to run on the road, I certainly wouldn't be running around and around my garden. So, you know, what our new norm is going to be, I don't know. And I think that fear of the unknown, and this is getting back to, you know, Susanna said, what can we do about it, is draw yourself back to something you do know that can help you breathe in the now. Get back into that now state, which is what we did previously as well. And we've done many times on this chat. So when you're back in this state, that you can actually then just focus and be, and know that yes, it is going to change, and yes, it will be different, and yes, it may be hard, it may be easy, it may be something depending on who you are and where you are, but we can only change ourselves, and we can only cope with it in our ways. But reach out where you can reach out, and use, you know, if older photographs or memories and that bring joy, find the ones that bring joy. If you can put a bit of perfume and a bit of makeup on, it lifts your spirits. I mean, when you're all rushed off and got our makeup, I can smell it, I can feel it. It does, it brings that joy. So what is it that's going to bring you joy in the now to help you cope with, you know, some people embrace change, some of us resist it a bit, but how are we going to move forward with it? And we don't know. It's like when you move to another place, another country or whatever. I mean, I've moved backwards and forwards, as you know, and you know it's going to change, you know it's going to be different, but you don't know exactly. And I think we're all in those shoes right now, is yes, whole new normality for now under lockdown, but when it comes open, what's going to happen then? You know, and people are so adaptive and amazing. I mean, here, as you know, there's no alcohol sold. So all of a sudden, we're looking at these menus on what they call recipes on Facebook for how to make pineapple beer and apple cider. And, you know, one of the shops has even got a whole thing of like pineapple and yeast and sugar, like as their display, you know, it's a new normal. You know, the old days, you certainly wouldn't have seen them doing that. So I think our opportunity here is, how do we want to go forward? Because it is away from the Stepford Wild, it is a place of self-reflection that I think everybody has to somehow face. And how do we want that to change? How are we able to personally find a little bit of us without rushing off and studying something new? And, you know, all the stuff in the beginning was do. Without that, what do you really want within you? And how is that possible? Can you start making some steps towards it? And yeah, so I suppose it's finding that little anchor, our perfume for today. This should be the perfume normality, and creating something gently and slowly and allowing it to come up within you that is your own reality and your own integrity.
Togetherness as well has just come to mind, because we have got to be together in this. We're together in this situation as a human species. And together we can help each other move on and move forward and get through this situation, because it's not about me anymore. It's about us. And we all have a duty to help I for one just know that all I want to do is try and help as many people as I possibly can in my power, and that comes in all different forms, you know, but togetherness, you know, if you've got some work that you can share, or if you've got something that you can share with someone else that would help them, or if you've got a perspective on a situation you can share, and any different kind of things like that, then do it, because one little gesture for you could mean a world of difference to someone else, you know. So togetherness, moving forward together, and creating a new routine. Make that routine of things that you love, you know. Get up and do every single thing that feels good, because when you're feeling good, you're creating that good energy, and money is energy, right? So when you're attracting that good energy, you'll attract everything that you need anyway. It will come to you, whatever form. Just be open and aware to what you need will come to you, whether it be in the way that you think it might, or be in the way that it may not be expected. So it's just attracting what energy you want to receive and what you want to be. Did that make sense? I think I was rambling. It's kind of ramble. Lena, let's come to you, my love. Let's come to you. You're so beautiful, just sitting there all quiet.
Oh, all quiet. Let's see if it still carries on when I start speaking.
Go on, darling.
Hello, everyone.
Hey.
Everyone touched on so beautifully on the situation we, as a collective, found ourselves in. Maybe just as my experience, I absolutely love the concept of unlearning. As a human that needs to, every psychology book talks to you about your first 7 years, your parents, the influence that you have, what. Meanwhile, on top of, over and above this, if we're older than 7 years, I think the people that are listening here and ourselves are a little older than 7 years, we've had an opportunity to create a little extra roundabouts for ourselves and believe them, make them very real, very stable, very believable, and it's absolutely necessary. And hold on to that, because that is where the one-track mind goes. Even when you've worked a lot on yourself, there's still a little track that that normal have I absolutely thrive and enjoy the opportunity where we have been given to force ourselves. And that goes with complete sensitivity towards, not everyone is in that situation. Complete and understanding and sensitivity. Not everyone is at home, healthy, with an opportunity. And the people that are going through real struggles, that is a different topic altogether, because that's where they need help. However, we have, including ourselves, within ourselves, we go through so much struggle, some of us go through, but there isn't a fire burning right now, like literally in your home, or there isn't a real problem other than fighting to grasp what you should be right now. And talking about, Linda, that tick, what I'm doing, is this good or bad, or am I doing the right thing, or wash the dishes now is the right thing to do. And it's beautiful. If baking is what you need to do, because that's how you're going to, when you do that, that's how you feed yourself. That is how your new, I wouldn't even call it new, because I kind of stalking myself over, for lack of a better word, but observing my reactions to my day is completely different. Completely different. I'm doing things that I've never done. And it's okay. But I'm observing, and I find that the essence of me is there, but it translates in different forms. And recognizing the translation, where I absolutely love breaking away from words, I'm this, I'm that, or the other thing. Because now I figure out, well, if I'm this, why am I doing that now? How? But it's still me. I don't know if that's making sense. For example, a simple analogy, I was baking bread. I've never had time to make Easter bread. I mean, that we're talking about hours of baking, hours, let alone the recipe. And you can't get one thing wrong because the thing doesn't rise. And my mother, I last did that with my mother when I was in high school. It's been a long time ago. I've never had the time. Anyway, I had the whole day. So I started the recipe from the morning. What do I do at the end of the day? I made a braid out of it. I braided the bread, and I laughed about it because it's still me. It's like, hey, but it's found a new, I mix color, I talk to people, I get the things right. I did exactly the same, but it was cooking. The medium had changed. Otherwise, it was the same thing in essence. It's just another. We will always find as humans, and talking about the anchors, Susanna, and finding the right essence of yourself, that attachment to the way it translates itself is where anxiety may rise.
Mm-hmm.
And that has been my experience.
I think that's perfect. Thank you so much. That was awesome. Thanks, Lena. So Susanna, I'm going to come back to you now.
Because listening to all of you, of course, you're so inspiring, and it's so beautiful to be here with you. Listening to what Lena was saying is that I thought the state that we have when we are in action is actually a state that is a call from within, right? There's no experience that is external in the end, right? We can't feel good in the kitchen, right? I feel good in my body. So basically everything that we have done until the crisis started, we have done hoping to reach that state. And we were thinking we were happy. Probably we were, probably we weren't. And many of us were complaining anyway about the state of things. Mm-hmm. And so what we did, being called from within for this state, which is what? It's a state of joy, no? Of feeling fulfilled, of feeling accomplished, of feeling connected. Most of the people in my coaching sessions mention these words, connected. useful, happy, joyful. So basically what we did before was to use the external tools, what was available in the society at that time, to create that state inside. So basically now we just have to do, the state is in there, the call, the magnetic force of that state for joy, for fulfillment is still there, and is going to find its ways out using what is there now to find that sense of fulfillment. As Lena said, you know, I did the same thing. I did the Easter bread and it took me a day and a half. And my daughter said, oh my God, Mom, but this is long to do. And I said, yeah, but it's so much satisfaction at the end of it, because I did it with my own hands. And, you know, when I'm eating it, I put all the love and the attention and my presence in there. But there's something else that came to my mind when I was listening to you. I think it's when Linda was talking. I remember this state of excitement and curiosity when I was going on a trip, either now, lately, when I go for work, or when I was young. So you remember you packing your suitcase, and sometimes you don't know. It's the first time you get to that location, and you have no idea where you're going. But the whole process, packing, traveling to the airport, for me, sitting in the airport, for some reason, was the most meditative state. I liked to sit or stand and just allow that energy to move around me. It was fantastic. Every single step of the journey, sitting, who's going to sit next to me in the plane, that pleasure and that curiosity and excitement of discovering where am I going to go, how is it going to look like, who am I going to meet there, what type of interesting people and what type of experiences. So listening to you guys, girls, I had that flashback of that state of expectancy, of curiosity and excitement, where this journey is going to take me. Because it looks like it's a stop, but it's not a halt. I mean, I haven't stopped living, I'm eating, I'm breathing, I'm there, I'm still doing things. I meet with wonderful people like you. So it is a journey, it's not a stop. Mm. So if we can get into that feeling of excitement, oh my God, I'm just waiting in the airport now. And I'm waiting for my plane. And what is going to be on the other side? I don't know, but maybe, perhaps, just perhaps, having this feeling will allow me to have a better experience when I'm landing there. So that was my thought listening to you. I had just had this flashback, and I feel in the airport, I feel surrounded by people. I feel like I'm getting excited to go in that plane and curious to see what's there to discover.
That's the thing as well. It's like, it's been able to, like that whole airport scenario, we can create that today, just in a different guise. So, you know, it's having that blank page of the day. And if there are any blocks there, as in fear or anxiety, noticing where they are, what is stopping you? What is stopping you right now from creating that blank page to literally, we have the internet in front of us. We can contact anyone in the world. We are so lucky because what we've got, you know, technology wise, and people, you know, around us, we've got every resource that we could ever want, and it's all down to us. So what's stopping us? Let it go, invite in what we want and go get it. Because if you don't go and get it, it won't just come to you. You have to go and make those efforts to go and get it. But if you invite it in, that energy, you're going to attract that, and you'll get everything you could ever dream of and more. Everything. I really, truly believe that. It's just being free to let yourself explore and to just find it. Find what you need. Find it. Marie, you're here. Hello, love.
Hello, Marie. Can I just come in, because it follows what you're saying and what Susanna said. So sorry, Marie, I hope it's all right.
Please do.
So what I noticed again while listening to you, to all of you, is yes, I understand that inner state that we're looking for, and what I think has been happening is because our new normal, our old normal is no longer available, we have been allowing that state to come from different actions. So, and I can use my eldest daughter, was always very busy, always. She was frantically busy, never had any time for anything. She used to say this over and over, oh, I haven't got time, we haven't got time. No, we can't do that, there's no time. She was doing something all of the time out of the house with the kids. And another thing she used to say is, no, I can't grow anything. No, don't give me any plants. Or no, they will die. They will die. Well, during lockdown, she has started building and planting in her raised beds. She got a book on it. She is growing things. And all that idea of, no, I can't grow things has gone because she's had space, hasn't she? She's had the space. And she has said that she likes to be occupied. So she will, when she can, she'll go back to that, but spend a lot more time within the home being occupied. So that's lovely. So I think what's really important, coming on from what you said, Danielle, about invite it in, it's a state that Susanna spoke of, that we can allow to come to us from things that previously we didn't associate that state with. And it could be anything. So the old, in some ways, the old me is no longer there. It doesn't have to be there. In some respects, I know somebody said it's still you. I think it's you, so yes, still you. But no, sorry, it was Lena. It's still you doing the Easter bread, but it's you allowing things in that previously we had preconceived ideas about.
Mm.
Yeah, the limiting beliefs, getting rid of any limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
Because there is no limits, there really isn't. Your limit is yourself and your beliefs. That is absolutely it. Marie, my gorgeous girl, good morning.
I'm so happy to see you all.
You look beautiful. You look absolutely, she look gorgeous.
Yes, today, yeah.
That's the red glasses.
I like them. It's really nice. So normality, what's normal to you? What is normal?
What's normal? That's a huge question. For me, there's so many ways to approach that question. Normal, is it something that I am used to? Something I identify myself with that as a norm. But now it's what I'm accustomed to, something I can evolve in there without asking myself too many questions. I know the mechanism, you can function. It's something you're used to, you refer to. Now, for my normality is not your normality, is not nobody else's normality. And that can be for either because of our emotion or culture, our background, our limit of resisting or connecting with a topic or not, or behavior. So when I ask myself, what is normality? Actually, just as I was listening to you, is a normality something that makes me comfortable, but somehow maybe does not tap into my power to move into something new? Because now I'm behaving in a way, in a cognitive way that I have, regardless to what it is. Now, if I start to open to something which is not normal, as per my norm, I now start to have to act differently, feel differently, maybe put in place as a mechanism or simply acknowledging the difference. And that's, for me, that's the beauty of the beauty and the limit of normality. I think for me, it has to be a tool. Whenever we need to get into a comfort zone, that's perfect. But the way to grow is actually to embrace various normality and understand and just acknowledge there's so many of them and grow from them. That would be my first one. And the ultimate growth would really be not only to acknowledge different normality for different people or situation or countries, or as we can see, or but actually not just that, but actually grow from it and feed ourselves from all those normality, almost to the point to really get our full potential. That's the way I see when I travel around the world and I do other things. How can I accept, how can I find it normal to have no normality, but plenty of normalities?
Yeah.
And it is almost, I find that so powerful, just because you don't deny what is normal for you, but you accept and you try to feed and ask yourself the question of what it is that you get from other normality, what do they bring, and that for me is fascinating. And what this confinement brings today for me, for example, it takes us out of our norms or comfort zone, basically what we used to. But regardless what our normality is, and that's the power of that shift, where we all out of our normality, though we all have different normality. That's what I was thinking around, the other day, asking myself, what does this confinement does? And it takes us all out of our normality, whilst we all have different backgrounds and normality standards.
That was wonderful.
So how do we deal with that? I don't know, but I mean, for me, it's something we need to bounce on. It's like discovering new culture, discovering new things, and open our minds to that and tap into new options to react and create a new normality with this non-normal situation.
Yeah.
Grow into a new normality.
Well, change is growth and growth is life, right? I always say that change, it may be comfortable, it may be uncomfortable, whatever it is, change is growth, because you cannot grow until you change. And then growth is life, and we are living life. So therefore we must adapt to any changes that is coming to us, because it's essential to live. So I always think that. Can I ask Linda, normality in children, how can people watching this help their kids to adjust to their new kind of normality? What is normal?
Do you know what I would say to that? Is leave them alone. That is all you need to do, is leave them alone. That is deschooling. What's deschooling, and what you do in deschooling? You leave them alone. You leave them to, with a few parameters that are necessary for the family, and you might limit screen time, but otherwise you leave them alone. You leave them to sleep all day if they want to. You leave them to do nothing. You leave them even when they say, I'm bored. You leave them, because that is the greatest gift you can give them.
Wow.
It's only when they've come to the end of, because this is another part of the school agenda, is they are provided with something to occupy themselves with every hour of the day. And then they come home, and often there are school clubs, aren't there, and things that they go to, or you've just got the home routine is right, homework, dinner, bed. So, there's no time for anything else. So they've not had the experience, not enough experience of getting to the end of all of that. And it's only when you come to the end of outside input that you find yourself. That is true for all of us, isn't it? So then if you leave them alone, they say, I'm bored, and you go, I know you are. Yeah, I know. Mum, I'm bored. I know. Yes, I know you are. And just leave them. And because they've all got things to occupy themselves with, haven't they? Any family has got more than enough things for them to occupy themselves with. And they will go off and they will learn to play. And even our my 13-year-old grandson, during normal times, we're isolating now, but normal times he comes here for home ed with Jake, who is 9. So there's quite an age gap with them. And they play and they play and they play. They play with figures. There's a lot of battling involved in it. Great deal of battling. And they just play, and they play with Lego, but they play, it's free play.
What if it's a single child? What if it's a solo child?
Well, then you might have to, and it depends on the age. So I've got another grandson who is 2 and a single child, and his mum is meeting challenges that that don't go with any other age, really, because Oliver's attention span is short at 2. He's very bright, very exceedingly bright, but that only requires more input. It's not necessarily a help. So she provides things at that age. She provides things to do, and she needs to have quite a stack of these things. Yeah. And there's lots on the internet, lots of stuff to be doing with your child, lots of stuff to be presenting your child with. But I would still say, even at that age, yeah, don't take over, just present them with. Make sure things are available, and with a young child you might direct them towards, but then leave them if they're not doing they're not doing that. And Oliver does quite a bit of no mummy, shouting, no mummy, I'm not.
I suppose, I mean, if they're older, they'll come to you, they'll decide what they want to do at that point where you've left them alone, and they'll say, well, can you play with me doing this? Or they'll be creative in their own skin to come back and say, will you do this with me? Or, you know, if they're on their own and they're older. Sorry, Lena, I'll come to you in 2 seconds.
I think even older and single child, they still don't need you as much as we think they do. And they still need to have that opportunity of finding out for themselves what to do on their own, because many of us as adults will have times where some of us will always live alone, and you need to be enough for yourself.
Yeah, I like that.
To know that you are enough for yourself.
Brilliant, Linda. Lena, let's come to you, my darling.
I just wanted to jump on the same topic as Linda, follow through. And because I'm currently experiencing as a parent and as a coach and a practitioner and an energy work, my daughter's experience of, we are in 2nd week of homeschooling, but it's not homeschooling, it's distance learning, which is a little different. It's distance learning, where I find that a lot of parents, for one, will need support in some way, seeing the challenges. I'm blessed enough to have a daughter that is very conscientious and she'll get on with stuff. And like Linda says, I need to do this. And I say, okay, do it. And then I carry on doing my own stuff. However, the challenges that a lot of parents are going to find are kids were never confined. Now we've been talking about limiting screen time, but now they find themselves in a position where from 9 to 5, they are doing screen time like never before. They find themselves in a sitting position like never before. And that's where the parental support in some way will come in handy. And if there's some sort of distress, I'm more kind of pleading towards parents. Don't be hard on yourself and think you wish upon a better world for your child, and you cannot make it better. Support them, find ways to exercise. Don't make them exercise, don't make them do yoga and tell them, well, you should be doing this, you should be looking after yourself. Do it with them, make it fun, make it playable and not so much of work, because these kids now are in a position where they have to somewhat be very serious for too long. And the teachers are also finding this new transition to be quite challenging. What I find the most empowering part out of all of this is for kids to actually see. Kids have the opportunity to see that adults do not have the answers. And it is beautiful. It is beautiful. Kids are witnessing firsthand that authority doesn't mean it's how it should be, because adults do not have the answers, and it's very, very, very obvious. And they are, as much as they are struggling in terms of how school at certain ages, yes, education is extremely important, extremely important, but social life is what builds you. Your friends are more important. Nobody goes to school for the pure joy of learning, as much as that's fun. They don't. You go to school because you want to be with your friends, and that's what your friends are doing. And now your friends are online, and that's where everybody is, so that's where you are. And you're trying to do it as best as you can. That's where we are. There's us. Our friends are online. That's what we're doing. But it's beautiful for me to see how my daughter's watching adults make mistakes.
Yeah.
And how adults get out of that situation, or how they make it better. We are kind of, all of us as adults are stripped from excuses. We don't have the excuses that we used to have. And it's beautiful. It is, it's so empowering. That's where there's a possibility for a new world and the new generation, because they can create worlds that we as beings that have been conditioned in so many ways and consciously spending time to unlearn, kids are now in a situation to see that we do not have the answers. The answers, if we had the answers, that's not the world we would have been creating, and the answers are elsewhere, and it is beautiful and powerful to be part of. All I'm asking parents is support yourself, be kind to yourself. It's okay to not have the answers. Look for help. There are ways where you can get the support you need, so you can be there for your child to bounce off and allow them to create better.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you, Lena. That was beautiful. I'm going to go to anyone else. Susanna, did you want to say?
Well, I was looking into how we can apply this notion of normality to daily struggles. See, like Lee was mentioning earlier, how do we, it's mainly a question I'm launching to you girls, how do we use this notion of normality, and how can we reframe it so that it works for us? Because that's what we want, right? At the end of the day, philosophy is good, but we want this to work for us. And the question that I would like to launch to you, which is a bit working and puzzling the mind, what have we called normality that is not normality? That if we are stopping to call it as normality, we could just, live the moment and do what we need to do right now, So where is the misconception of normality?
Good question. Isn't it that we do things in a cognitive way?
Yeah. Marie, sorry, say that again, Marie.
I say, isn't it the normality, or the conception of normality? Isn't it that we are doing things in a way we're familiar cognitive with? And as a parents, when we no longer be able to be in that, the normality we have, how do we support our children, for example? Is it, because that's also this, right? All our kids, if we go back to the kids, are looking at us being out of what is normal. And how do we support them? For me, it's really a case of saying, kind of just, okay, maybe if I'm stressed, can I share that stress with you, but in a positive way? Like, how are we going to find a solution together? How exciting it is. Well, I cannot go to that same thing the same way. How am I going to do it? Yeah. How are we going to reach that? How are we going to overcome that hurdle? And I know it sounds a little bit ambitious and happy, etc., whatever, but what if, because it's there, we can't change it, right? We've got to make a plan. So we can make a plan moaning about it, and what we're going to teach our kid is that how difficult it is to make a plan and how happy it makes me. Or we can try to make a plan thinking it's fun, can we try the solution together? Actually, as Lena said, I don't have the answer. Maybe you've got a good tip because you've got a different perception of that. What would you do? And find some, just show them that It's okay to change normality. It's maybe not what we want all the time, but it's okay.
Yeah.
And it's about working together to find a new normality or deal with it. But we've no choice.
Yeah, lovely.
We don't have a choice.
Thank you, Marie.
Yeah, but it's not normality. That's what I'm saying. We are using a concept, a notion that means nothing. There's just some sounds that we're using when we're using our vocal cords.
Yeah.
Right? Normality. Normality, isn't it life itself?
Life
Happening?
Yeah, I think
Lee, go on, Lee.
Yeah, no, I think what you're saying is right, because what is normal? It goes back to that normal isn't the same for all of us. I mean, I was thinking with Lena being a hairdresser. I mean, you talk about oily hair, normal hair, and dry or whatever. I don't know. Is that really normal? Are 90% or are the average of people have hair that isn't greasy or this or this or this or this? So what really is normal? It's just some standard or some line that we're basing it on. And, then bringing it back to kids, I think, every single one of them is different, just like we're all different. And how does one deal with, some kids? I mean, I've got friends who their kids are very open and they come and they talk and they talk and they talk. My son's, one of his best friends, she just writes and writes and writes. She's a great journaler. And I mean, she's also 12. With him, I find if we want to talk about something, then often we'll do like a parts integration where I'll say, okay, we'll get 2 of your teddies, let's put them together and let's have a conversation. If he said to me, Mom, I don't know what school or how to do whatever, then let's put 2 little teddy bears and talk to them. Which one wants to do it this way? That teddy bear. Which one wants to do it this way? That teddy bear. So then we do it like a parts and we put one little teddy on either side and we have a conversation with why does the teddy want to do it that way? What makes him feel good about that? What is he a bit apprehensive about? And what does that teddy want to do? And would they perhaps want to discuss with you? So he can then, in his own mind, work out with his teddies what he wants to do and how he's going to, but the emotional week or whatever, he's not quite there emotionally to be able to decide it necessarily on his own. But if he can talk about it with the teddies, because he can't quite get to the emotion, somehow that has just been, for me, a great tool for him to just work in his own little world of understanding what he wants to do without, so being there, but not saying, oh no, I must always check your homework, this is great. I mean, one of the instances was, does he want me to check it or not? The work that he's doing online. Thankfully, I'm not in a situation where it's that many hours. It's from, 9 until 2 or something, they're doing a bit of online learning. But allowing them to guide you in the way that they need to guide you, and giving them support in the way that works for that particular child. And I think that's where us as parents have to really stand in and say, I might have wanted it a different way, and I certainly probably would have, because but how does he want to do it? And how can I be there to allow him to grow up and be the child that Lena's talking about, that can create a future with some critical thinking and with his own thinking and his own critical thinking, not mom's normal or dad's normal that I've put down on him, which is I guess what we sometimes, and certainly in a time like this where it is so unknown, we want to say, no, must do this, because we don't know.
No.
Nobody does. None of us know what's going to happen after this. We just know that we've got to do it the best we can, and yeah. Luckily, we're in a field.
Unconsciously, perhaps we all know what's going to happen.
Maybe, hey?
We're setting ourselves goals, isn't it? We're setting ourselves goals to challenge those goals to get to our journey onto the final destination. So this is good. So
don't we have to remember that? I'm going to remember that, Lee, that you said. You made the point that is obvious, but we may not always speak that way. That children are just human beings as well. They're not like dogs or cats, and then we're humans, are they? They are just young humans. That's all. I think I'm going to keep that in mind to check my thinking and my speaking. Would this work if I say, oh, this young human needs this or is doing the other? So anyway,
interesting. Yeah.
just as we're talking here now, and we are all comfortable with change because of who we are. We are comfortable with change, and even then, not all the changes we've had to make have been comfortable, and so we've got to get through it. So I think we do need to remember for our children as well, they are only human and they are requiring to change, and it is good that they're being required to change. However, it will not all feel good, and it won't all be easy. It won't seem easy. And some children, you know, some people's children are not typical. Some people's children have to also deal with other reasons for challenging behaviours and other reasons for the world seeming very challenging for them. So I always try to be aware of that. It's okay to be presenting a nice kind of storybook look for all of this wonderful, they can learn a new normal thing. But for some children, what kept them calm was that routine, was normal, and school and studying and knowing where they were at. So that's something different that some parents will have to handle differently. I think also it has, from the families I know, it has calmed some of those children, because there's no moment where suddenly they've got to go somewhere. There's no, this new normal is at least the same. It's pretty much the mixture as before, isn't it? Every day is Groundhog Day.
You can literally take what you want out of that normality. You can make it as relaxing or as challenging as you want, because there are no rules and there's no parameters. You can set your own parameters for your own life. So I can't believe it's been an hour again.
I know, I was just looking at that thinking it's quick. There's so much to talk about.
It flies with you guys. It really flies. Oh my God. So unless anyone wants to speak, I'll sign off and I'll just, I'm so grateful again to you all, because you are awesome. Marie, did you want to say something, or are you okay?
Maybe I'll do a quick one on bounce on what you've just said, this new normal. But as we say, this new normal is not tomorrow's normal. It's only now, it's only temporary. So it's just all about going from a normal to a normal to a normal and creating a new normal every day. And maybe that's the one learning out of all this for all of us, whatever. Just we're shifting. Today's normal is good, but it's today's normal, not tomorrow.
I love that. That's the perfect way to sign off. So basically, everyone out there that's watching, firstly, thank you for joining us and thank you for being with us. And I hope we've given you some value as to what we've discussed, because I sure as hell got some value myself. And I would like to invite you to just start every day with a new blank page. This is the day to create today's normal. Be open to the change. Set yourself goals to achieve in the day and celebrate those goals when you've achieved them. And if you don't achieve them, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter, because you've got another blank page tomorrow. So be kind to yourself and enjoy the journey, enjoy your normal. And I will look forward to seeing everyone on Friday. So I don't know what we're going to discuss, so we'll have a little chat about that in a minute. But everyone, have a wonderful week. Enjoy the sunshine, because that's quite normal at the moment, which is really quite nice. And enjoy, embrace the journey. So Facebook, everywhere else, YouTube, everywhere. Bye-bye. And I'm going to just stop streaming live. Here we go. Okay, I'm with you. And let me just stop the recording now.